Welcome to The Explainer, where we break down big ideas. Today, we're tackling one of the biggest questions there is. What really makes you, you? I mean, is it your DNA? Is it your childhood? Or is it something else entirely? Well, let's find out.
And believe it or not, this classic line from Juvenile kind of perfectly captures a question we all ask ourselves, right? We look in the mirror or we look at our family and we wonder how much of me comes directly from my parents and how much is just how I was raised.
For the longest time, we've been stuck in this really oversimplified debate. Nature, our genes, versus nurture, our upbringing. And yeah, it's a simple, dramatic story. But here's the thing, it's also wrong. Science has moved way beyond that to a much more fascinating and honestly, a much more accurate answer. Okay, so let's dive into this by first looking at the undeniable power of nature, or what scientists call heredity. And to do that, believe it or not, we need to talk about some very special foxes. So this was the question a Russian geneticist named Dmitry Belyaev asked himself all the way back in 1952. He started this incredibly audacious experiment to see if he could basically replicate thousands of years of dog domestication, but with wild silver foxes, and in just a few decades. What's just incredible is how fast this change happened. By selecting for only one single trait, tameness, the team created this whole population of dog-like foxes. And get this, it wasn't just their behavior that changed. They actually developed new physical traits, like floppy ears and curly tails. It's just a stunning testament to how powerfully genetics can shape a creature. Now, the most stunning human examples of this power come from studies of identical twins who were separated at birth, raised in totally different families with absolutely no knowledge of each other's existence. And the most famous of all are the Grimm twins.
So when these guys were reunited at age 39, their similarities were just uncanny. It wasn't just the shared habits and health issues you see here. Both had married a woman named Linda, divorced her, and then remarried a woman named Betty. Both had a son they named James Allen. It's wild. Despite being raised totally apart, their shared DNA had produced these startlingly similar lives. So, stories like this really show the power of genes, but we have to be super precise with the science here. The term is heritability, and it's a measure for a whole population. For example, the heritability of height in wealthy countries is about 85%. Now, that doesn't mean your height is 85% from your genes. What it means is that across the whole population, 85% of the differences in height between people can be traced to genetic differences. It's not destiny for any one person.
Okay, so let's move to the other side of that old debate and see how our understanding of nurture has been completely transformed. Because it's not just about how your parents raised you. It's not even close. The author of our source material, David Linden, he argues that the word nurture is terribly misleading. It makes us think that our environment is just about parental care, the hugs, the rules, the bedtime stories, and that's really only a tiny, tiny piece of the puzzle. The reality is much, much broader. A way better term is experience, which really includes every single non-genetic factor that has ever affected you, from the moment of conception right up to this very second. I mean, this view is so much bigger than just your family, right? It includes your mother's health before you were even born, the specific microbes living in your body, your whole social world. And the key insight here is that many of these factors can have permanent, locked-in effects on who you become. Okay, here's a perfect example. During World War II, the Japanese army noticed that soldiers from the cold northern island of Hokkaido suffered way more from heat stroke in the tropics than soldiers from the hot southern island of Kyushu. And the reason wasn't genetic. It turns out the number of active sweat glands you have is determined by the temperature you experience in your first year of life. After that, it's locked in for good. That's experience literally writing itself onto your biology. So even after we account for our genes and this huge, broad definition of experience, there's a third crucial factor that the old nature versus nurture debate completely misses. It's kind of the secret ingredient that guarantees no two people can ever be exactly alike. So what's this number? This is the estimated number of connections or synapses in your brain. 500 trillion. It's an impossibly complex wiring diagram, and there's just no way your DNA, with its mere 3 billion letters, could possibly specify every single one of those connections. So instead of a precise blueprint, your genome provides general instructions. It's more like a recipe that says, hey, you bunch of neurons over there, grow your axons in this general direction, and I don't know, about half of you cross over to the other side of the brain. So in one person, maybe 40% crossover. In another, maybe it's 60%. This leaves a huge amount of the fine-tuning to pure chance during development. This is what scientists call developmental randomness, and it's the main reason why even identical twins who share the exact same DNA and the same womb are not born with completely identical bodies, brains, or temperaments. It's like they say, you simply can't bake the same cake twice, even with the exact same recipe. And this randomness, it goes even deeper than brain wiring. It goes right down to the cellular level, which is just wild. It's a phenomenon called somatic mosaicism. Basically, as your cells divide throughout your life, they pick up tiny random mutations. This means you aren't one single genetic entity. You're more like a metropolis of related but totally unique cells. These little genetic changes aren't passed down. They're part of what makes you, and only you, you. So if nature versus nurture is dead, what's the new model? What's the new way of understanding what makes you a unique individual? So here it is, the new formula. You are heredity, interacting with experience, all of it shaped by the randomness of development. Now, it might not be as catchy as nature versus nurture, but it has the huge advantage of actually being true. So the crucial takeaway here is that you could never be perfectly replicated. Seriously, even if we made a perfect genetic clone of you and raised them in the exact same environment, they would still be a fundamentally different person. Why? Because the random variations in their brain development and the unique mutations in their cells would absolutely guarantee their individuality. This new science, it gives us this really profound way to appreciate our own uniqueness. It shows us that who we are is not some simple calculation of genes plus environment, but a beautiful, unrepeatable outcome of their interaction with the inescapable power of chance. It is the glorious, unpredictable science of you.